80. So this is my speech again. Charette, right? So, I believe that texting while driving is very dangerous and deadly, so do not focus on the road if you're texting. That is why the 21 states have passed a law banning texting and talking while driving. Some of the facts that support my thesis are as follows. If you're texting, you're very distracted and not focusing on driving. In the year 2008, over 6,000 people died because they were texting while driving. If you text, you are 6 times more likely to crash than someone who drives drunk. Each year, 21% of all fatal car crashes were caused when someone distracted by texting. 65% of all crashes involve being distracted. Texting while driving slows your reaction time to that of a 70-year-old person. Texting causes three main types of distraction. Visual, taking your eyes off the road. Manual, where you're taking your hands off the wheel. And cognitive, where you're taking your mind off what you're doing. Distracted driving is any non-driving activity a person engages in that has the potential to distract him or her from the primary task of driving and increase the risk of crashing. While all distractions can endanger driver safety, texting is the most alarming because it involves all three types of distraction. The percentage of young drivers texting using handheld electronic devices has increased from 2007, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's 2008 nationwide survey, which provides the only nationwide probability-based observed data on driver electronic device use in the U.S. The survey shows that the handheld cell phone use rate in 2008 translates into 812,000 vehicles being driven by somebody using a handheld cell phone at any given moment during daylight hours. It also translates into an estimated 11% of all vehicles that have drivers who are using some type of phone. Nationwide, those drivers observed visibly manipulating handheld electronic devices increased from 0.7% to 1%. Some 1.7% of drivers 16 to 24 years old were observed visibly manipulating handheld electronic devices, up from 1.9% that previous year. More drivers in the western states were observed manipulating handheld electronic devices than in other regions of the country. The use of handheld devices increased the most in the West from 0.6% in 2007 to 2.1% in 2008. The observed use rate of handheld electronic devices is higher among females than among males, obviously. The day after talk show host Oprah Winfrey focused on the dangers of texting while driving, two members of the Georgia House of Representatives introduced bills that would ban the practice. Don't tempt fate, said Representative Amos Emerson, quoting Winfrey. That texter called him late. Emerson and Representative Alan Peake introduced similar bills that would likely merge. Under Peake's bill, anyone found guilty of writing, sending, or reading a text message while driving would be fined $50 to $100 and have 2 points placed on his driver's license. Emerson's bill would set the fine at $300. Texting while driving is a rising problem among teenagers and adults and a leading cause of traffic accidents, Peake said. When someone texts while driving, they are endangering their own lives as well as all other drivers and pedestrians they may pass. This legislation saves lives. For handheld cell phones, 8 states in the Virgin Islands, 8 states, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Washington, the Virgin Islands prohibit all drivers from using handheld cell phones while driving. Except for Maryland, all laws are primary enforcement, where an officer may cite a driver for using a handheld cell phone without any other traffic offense taking place. For all cell phone use, no state bans all cell phone use for drivers, but many prohibit the cell phone use by third drivers. For novice drivers, 28 states and D.C. ban all cell phone use by novice drivers. For school bus drivers in 18 states and D.C. may not use the cell phone when passengers are present. For text messaging, 30 states, D.C., and Guam ban text messaging for all drivers. 11 of these laws were enacted in 2010. 26 states, D.C., and Guam have primary enforcement, and the other 4 texting bans are secondary. For novice drivers, an additional 8 states prohibit text messaging by novice drivers, and for school bus drivers, 2 states restrict school bus drivers from texting while driving. Some states, such as Maine, New Hampshire, and Utah, treat cell phone use and texting as part of a larger distracted driving issue. In Utah, how cell phone use is in a sense only if the drivers also can name some other routes and violations, other than speed. Many states include a category for cell phones, electronic equipment, distraction on police acting in a poor form. Recently proposed federal legislation would require states to collect this data in order to qualify for certain federal funding. Now for the well-debated question, is there any good when it comes to texting and driving? I personally think no, because it is way too easy to turn into the first parking area you see and text whatever you need to text. Some people, though, do see good in this, though I would think few and far between. People could be texting while you're driving as a good thing because they do have technology these days where your phone can read out a message and even make phone calls. I can back that up because my dad always calls me from his car phone, probably more than his actual cell phone. Or, of course, you can get the excuse that it was an emergency or something bad happened. Or it was my mom. My mom was calling. But anyways, if you have the money to spend on a car that reads text messages or even a phone that reads text messages, because I've seen that before as well, then all the power to you. If you put the good versus the bad on the big scale, the bad will outweigh the good. Talking on the phone is more probable than texting because every new phone comes with a hands-free set and barely talks a thing anyway. This isn't a speech about should talking on the phone be banned. In other words, use your best judgment and common sense when you feel the need to text while you're behind the wheel of your auto. The minor and major repercussions can be life-changing, which in the short term should signal to any driver that a sentence or two can wait until you reach your destination. It can wait.